This lodge was never intended to be an eco-lodge, by the way. The very first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to address the issue of employment, because when I came here on holiday, what I saw is that the people that were serving my drinks and cooking my food, they weren't very happy, and they told me why they weren't happy. They told me because in 2 or 3 months they would have to go home with no salary for the rest of the year. They couldn't afford to send their children to school and so on. So the whole purpose of Footsteps, actually, in the beginning, was about providing a salary, a livable wage, right? So training, a salary. And so these people that you're seeing around you here today, actually several of them have been with me for 20 years. And definitely, without question, more than 50% of the staff here have been more than 15 years. So there's a reason for that, right? And the first reason is that we've done the things fairly from day one, right? We said you will receive a salary each month, 12 months of the year, whether we're open for 5 months, 6 months, 4 months, whatever happens, that's what you get. And so that was the original purpose. Following on from that, I received some really good advice from a friend of mine who said, make a business good, honest and true. And I wrote that into our mission statement, which is how we ended up with an eco-lodge, because the decisions that needed to be made, I applied, is that a good, honest, true way forward? So in other words, for the supply of the electricity, we now don't come to Gunjur. They're not here. They're not here. They don't have power lines down to this lodge. They promised it 20 years ago. It's still not here, and I wouldn't want it anyway. But we had a choice. We could have gone with a generator, right? So is a generator a good, honest and true way forward? Well, all right, it's noisy, and let's face it, we're in the middle of the bush, and what we're after is being in the nature. So it's very noisy, it frightens the wildlife, it burns fossil fuels, it goes wrong, it's expensive to run. It has one benefit, which is immediate power, right? As long as it's working. So we looked at other things. We looked at wind power and we looked at solar, and hey, they tick the right boxes. They are a good, honest, true way forward. I'm still using solar panels from 20 years ago. Can't say the same about the batteries. Every 5 to 7 years they need replacing, but the panels, 20 years. When they choose to come here, they're choosing, not to buy plastic bottles every day, right? Not to use plastic straws, not to accept that this is just going to go on and accept plastic bags and everything else. And so, they want to see nature as nature intended it. They don't want to. They're not coming here for parties and drinking and stuff. They're coming here to make new friends and learn about a new culture, maybe. Some people think that being an eco-lodge is having solar panels on the roof. No, it isn't. It's much more than that. It's a socio-economic approach. So that's what this place is great for. It's a perfect base for that, because that's what we set out to do. Management is the problem. So for example, if you have a few days where the sun isn't very good and your power system comes down low, I've known in the past people that have their own systems just to bypass the charge control system and just charge directly from the panel to the battery, because charge is much quicker, yes, but also damages the battery quite substantially. So by doing it that way, you're going to hurt the system. So it's about management, knowing what you're doing with it. In 20 years, I think I can count on these hands in 20 years how many times we've actually lost power for any length of time, even just for 30 minutes. Well, I have many different individual systems. So there's a system for this freshwater pool. There's another system for the restaurant bar over there. There's another system for the lights coming all the way around here. The fridges are all on individual systems, so that if one fridge goes down, the others are still fine, so we can manage. We have 6. If you wanted to go to one of the more extreme levels, we're sat right by it. So this is Gambia's only freshwater filtered pool. So we believe so strongly in not polluting the planet that we don't use chlorines or bleaches in order to clean our water, and so this is a completely natural system where the water is pumped from this side, which is you can say the natural filter. So this is bulrush in here and water hyacinth, and what they do is they take out all the large particles of dirt in the water, and then a pumping system pumps it to the bottom of this section here, which is black stone, and it's about 3 meters deep, so it's quite deep. And then actually you could just about see that there's a weir there as well, so the water comes in the bottom of the black stone, rises up through all of the black stone, and then falls back into the pool there. And the fact that you won't find another one in actually West Africa, not just Gambia, you will not find another pool like this. It's testament to that. Well, it is. It is complicated because the flow rate is probably the most important part of this. If the flow rate is too high, it won't filter. If it's too slow, then algal bloom will occur. The reason it works, okay, is two things, not just the flow rate, but you can see that what we actively do is keep the sun off it. All right, so the black stone is slightly higher than the water level, so when the water comes up over that weir, it doesn't see the sunlight. And then when it enters there, it doesn't see the sunlight either because of this lovely deck that's on top. And then this is so thick, it hardly gets through here either, so that's essentially how it works. But no, it took us years to get this working the way we want it to work. I can honestly say I nearly gave up on it all in one. And just said, look, we'll put chlorine in it and sod it. But we haven't. The guests love it. I would have expected other hotels just to latch onto this a little bit by now, because the kudos that we get for this is incredible. Everyone loves it. How could you not? I mean, free water in a great bottle, A lot of people that come to the Gambia hate the fact that they have to keep buying bottles, right? They literally hate it. They hate the fact that they get given plastic straws. Every guest that comes to Footsteps receives one of these bottles. Mine's a bit scratched up, but I know. I go fishing a lot on the beach, so it gets thrown around. But they're pretty sturdy, They're aluminium, I think. I'm not sure. All the guests get one of these on arrival, and they're yours to keep. And all the time you're here, the water's free. Okay, mainly I know we've built a reputation as a birding lodge. We get a lot of birders come here for obvious reasons. I mean, the pool's a big attraction for the birds. There's over 100 different species of bird inside Footsteps grounds. You could have those within 2 or 3 days if you were birding here. Also, we do yoga. So we have several yoga retreats each year with 5 full weeks, and we have yoga available every day with 2 separate teachers, one teaching a beginner class, if you like, and someone also teaching experienced ones. And fishing. I like to go fishing myself. We've got a great beach, just 25 minutes walk away, so it's nice to get down there and do a bit of fishing. We have a philosophy here that we don't burn any of our land like many locals do in order to get ready for regrowing. What we do is we have mulching areas where we just collect everything up and put it in there and water it, and then just before the season starts we'll be adding that to our garden so that we have good quality soil that's capable of retaining moisture. And over there we're growing lettuce, rocket, bok choy, kale, sweet chilies, everything. Most everything but root vegetables, we buy those locally. So the experience is that our chef will be popping over to the garden to pick all these fresh things just minutes before you enjoy them. So it tastes so much better. Food's a great experience here. I think it's one of the things that we're probably recognised more for than anything else. And the eco side of things, we try to provide it, without really pointing it out too much. It's about, doing the right thing and not even needing to think about it. We do all that for you. The whole idea in the beginning was to provide permanent jobs, right? Career opportunities, actually, where people can advance from within. Okay, so and because of that, a lot of the staff have been with me a very long time. Some of them 20 years. As a result, I've seen their children grow from this all the way up to young men finishing college. This is because they've had a permanent education. Their children have never been taken out of school. They are the future of the country, and the reason why Gambia, I think, has suffered a lot in the past is because of this system of schooling where parents put their children into school, but then all of a sudden they can't afford to send them to school for the rest of the year. And I know that school is free now, but you still have to pay. You have to send your child there with the correct clothes, and they have to have food, and they have to have pens and pencils and rulers and stuff like this. It's still a problem, and a lot of kids get taken out of school. So that was always the most important thing for me, was that salaries, make sure that people can plan ahead, have a little bit of security in their lives, maybe. Yeah, and we currently employ 23 members, full-time staff members, right? Which, when I say full-time, they're with us all the time, all year. None of them go home, right? Right, well, the toilets here are twin-chamber Vietnamese composting toilets. So I think they were first, I'm not sure invented, but they were certainly found evidence of them being used in the 16th century. And they work on a very, very simple system, which is that they have a drain and they have a chimney, an air vent. And two sides, so it's a twin chamber, and and all you're really doing is using this toilet and putting in anything that's organic, along with whatever you're putting down there. So, you don't need to put anything down if you're just urinating, but I mean anything else, then yes. So we use sawdust is our preferred medium. So we would go to a local sawmill and we'd actually buy it from them. Whereas before that was a waste product for them. Now we go along and buy sort of 5 or 10 bags a week, 10 Dalasi or something, so they've got a small income from it as well. We would also choose softwood rather than over a hardwood as a sawdust, because it's going to compost down much quicker. So let's just put a half a cup of that down each time, and then once a week we would put some straw hay in there as well, something bigger, so it doesn't clog and get tight. And so it's about managing the toilet, but I'll take you in and show you one in a minute, and they don't smell, not at all, and they don't use any water, of course. So it's a double whammy. It's great. Okay, right. So what I did when I first got here, again, good, honest, and true, is I researched all about this method of toilet, and what I found is that each year in July and August, actually, predominantly, which is the point at which the rain is the heaviest and the point at which the water table is the highest, that during that time there was a very high incidence of death in infants under 12 months old. And this is absolutely linked to the well water being too close to the local toilet. So although the toilet can work, it has to be managed correctly. It has to be a certain distance away from anyone who wants to take from the water source, because if you don't, then really as soon as that water table gets up to sort of 4 meters and stuff like that, then that's where you're taking your water from, and it becomes very dangerous. So we went for composting, and it uses no water, it doesn't smell, it doesn't actually give you a lot of compost, the big question is always, do you compost to get compost? No, we compost to deal with our waste products efficiently and safely. So you can say with the temperatures that are being achieved inside those chambers that that any bacteria in there is going to be dead within 5 or 6 hours. Right? So this is actually way better than a flushing toilet, where actually bacteria lives a lot longer because it gets trapped up in the little, where the water comes from and everything else. And it can live there. There's no temperature to kill it. No thermophilic reaction. In saying that, we've just installed a new toilet here, which I'm waiting on some worms to arrive. These worms are called red wigglers, and what this toilet will do, first of all, it's going to be a disabled toilet, because I'm very, very interested in having our facilities as being usable by disabled people. So it's already there. I'll show you this in a minute. This is a flushing toilet, okay? But instead of it just going to a soak-away or a septic tank, what we're going to do is to put a tank in between that, right, in between the toilet and the actual soak-away. What that tank will do, is it will pretty much separate all the liquid out straight away, and the worms are going to eat the poop for us. This is what they do. This is their job. So what they produce is something called a worm cast, which is a little, dust-like cast of the worm itself, and that is now worm poop, or as what it will become as soon as the water hits it in the morning, is it will become something called worm tea, which is extremely high in nutrient, better than any compost, better than urine, better than anything. I mean, this is gold. People would pay a lot of money for it. So that then is being flushed out, and it then goes off to a soak-away where we're going to be growing things like bamboo and bananas and nutrient-rich plants. But look, all plastic isn't bad. That is a very common misconception. What I'm concerned with are single-use plastics. Plastics that are just not necessary. It's a no-brainer. However, a chair, a table, right? This is actually something that's going to last for years and will prevent trees being chopped down in order to have it and all the rest of it. And I mean, certainly there is technology around now. I mean, I know it's already in Gunjur. They're making roof tiles and patio tiles from some plastics. It's already being done. I mean, what we need to do is just stop using single-use plastics now. Plastics are not bad. I mean, I think the first plastic bag was invented so that we didn't have to chop trees down, right? So the initial concept was a good one, and you're never going to get rid of plastics. I mean, the medical profession, the needles. I'm diabetic. This, right? There are plastics, but it's single use that we just have to stop. Peace of mind. You can give your conscience a break when you come to stay here. The biggest single reason I hear why people come back are the staff, and they say, David, it's lovely coming back each year and meeting the same staff. Right? Just you're meeting an old friend. The thing is, things work here. The rooms are cool by intelligent. They're cool by intelligent design. It's when you look at an ordinary house, a rectangular house with a roof. You have these surfaces which heat up like a solar panel, and of course roundhouses across Africa are common, and there's a reason why they're round. It's because the sun only hits a very small portion of it. So whenever you see the sunlight on a roundhouse, it's never all over it. It can't be, because it's refracted. So these even have round roofs as well, which does a similar thing. And so they're already very cool. Then what we do is we plant trees around them, because actually our system is that we don't waste anything. Our shower water, our sink water, and the urine that flows from the toilet all mix together and feed the lemon tree and the papaya and the guava. So every time you wash your hands, you're watering our garden. So this also helps keep it cool, so shade. And then lastly, it has 4 windows which are all the way around. It has great ventilation and a chimney. It has an air vent on top. Well, sustainable tourism has to be, first of all, sustainable. So you can be as good as you want to be. You can have high standards. You can be doing the right thing. But if people don't come and see you and you're not in business, then you're not, by definition, sustainable. Being sustainable on an ecological level is different. So for us, it is about not creating any waste that we don't have to. It's about reusing, recycling, rather than just buying. And what can we go without? What can we take away? What can we live without, rather than doing it this way? Boxed oranges, orange juice and things like this. There are fresh oranges here. It doesn't get any better. Why would you buy it out of the box? Or even worse, that's what I find with children's drinks, is they come in a little box with a little straw attached to it, and it's like, right, okay, what are we teaching our children, right?